All right, let's do this. Let's get this started. Just double checking that things are coming through. Double checking that things are coming through. Okay, that's better. Let's get the VS Code out. Going to work on some fun things today. There's a feature I've been wanting to work on for a while, so I think finally we can get to it. So from my end, the audio sounds fine, but if that's not the case for anyone listening, please do let me know. And yeah, I can see what I can do to adjust. But I'll assume it's okay. Right. So first things first, open reviews. Let's start with that. I think there's still some outstanding PRs that are ready that really should be merged. So let's make sure we actually address them. Also, I'm gonna start my little script to automatically switch focus when I move from VS Code to the browser. Otherwise, yeah, as always, I'll never be able to remember to switch myself. So, VS. All right, let's open up the browser now and see if it actually goes. Yeah, it looks like it's switched. I just need to select the right browser. Okay, here we are. We're on this. Let's occupy as much space as possible. Here we are. Let's go to the notifications. And yeah, let's see what we can address. Okay, so this is a fun one. List aggregate methods, which I think Francesco was, yeah, there's a bunch of comments. All right, so there's a failure in point blank, and I've reported to them why it's failing. Looks like they were relying on something undocumented in polars, and yeah, there's a reason why people are advised to not rely on undocumented features. So in fact, just trying to take call string on an expression, this was quite error prone, and in fact it's finally broken. So anyway, all that to say that this is unrelated. So I think we can take a look at this one. We should take a look at, yeah, this one, making the compliant selectors public. Yeah, this one's quite important, updating the contributing guide. This one I commented on earlier. Pre-commit would not be bad to auto-update. I think there was some issue there with it updating typos to the wrong pin, but not crucial. This one's draft. This one wasn't ready. This one I'm not sure about. Maybe I'll mark this one as draft. Then, oh yeah, assert frame equal. Let's take a look at that. This one says help wanted, so I think it's not finished yet. Need to think about this one at some point, and this one, but I think I'm taking on too many things for just one session. I commented on this one earlier, discussed this one at the last dev meeting. Yeah. Not... All right, let's start with these. We'll see how far we get. So, in terms of priority, I'd say updating the contributing guide is probably highest prio. Let's start with that. This is failing, but I think that's probably unrelated. So let's update that. Okay, let's take a look. This should I kind of want this to be added a bit earlier. Maybe I'll just modify this. Yeah, I kind of feel like rather than just dragging out the review indefinitely, let's just make a little edit and solve that. Not sure where to put my little icon here on the screen as it's covering part of the code, but maybe it's not terrible. Maybe if I put myself in the top right, it's less likely to cover things. Maybe that's not a bad idea. Okay, let's do that. And then just checking if we go back to the code. Yeah, it's working. Nice. All right. So yeah, after this one, let's also just add that as a command. Yeah, let's just add that here. And then if anyone reinstalls and they go through these things, they can just... Actually, could we do these two in just one step? Does it work? Because if we can just have a single step, that's probably easier to point people to. Let's see if this runs. Let's make this a bit bigger for the stream as well. Gosh, mkdocs is a pretty big wheel. Yeah, so this installed the test plugin. And it also installed the local Narwhals. Or did it? Yeah, it's done a local Narwhals installed, right? Not from PyPI. Yeah, I think we should be good then. Yeah, this is all we need to recommend then. Just a single step to install both. In fact, we don't even need dot slash. I think we can just write like this. You know, if we can make it simpler, fewer points of failure. Yeah, it looks like they're both local installs. Yeah, okay, let's just do that. Easy. Then ooh, where's this gone? There was something she modified. Maybe she put re-install. If you use a single code block instead of bullet points of code snippets, it's easier to copy paste all the commands as well. Nice. Yeah, thanks. Uh, True, but here is it possible to make all of this into a code block? I mean, I think they kind of need to be done separately, right? I don't know. Also, and also Haikam. Yeah, Cam, who, according to YouTube Studio, is the #1 fan. True, I didn't see that there were commands after the initial test setup, like PyTest, yeah. Also, hi. Finally, if you had to... Static typing is run. Do we... Okay, let's go back to option 2. Do we need this there? Yeah, much. Yeah, so rather than having this separate paragraph, I think we can just add that here. So add e dot group local dev and then e test plugin. Is that correct? Test dash plugin, sorry. Okay, so let's combine install steps. So I'm going to be typing with just a single hand today. Unfortunately, I've injured my left forearm. Nothing serious, hopefully, but I'm just doing everything I can to rest it. So I can get back to practicing mandolin and guitar as soon as possible. And for now, yeah, just going to do things with my right hand. I think it was just overuse. Too much playing. Too much typing. All right. Yeah. Let's ship this. Yeah, thanks. So I'll say thanks, Michelle. And I found that we can simplify the step. So I pushed that. Yeah, Michelle just commented in the chat, happy streaming. Sorry to hear about your arm. That's all good and absolutely nothing serious. Just taking a break before it becomes anything serious. I found that we can simply combine the install steps. So I've done that. Let's ship it. Okay, one down. Let's try to get through these, and then I'll see if I can work on the feature that I wanted to do. List aggregates. Yeah, this one's a bit complicated. And I think I'm going to have to check this one out to be able to make sense of it. So let's do that. So I'm going to start by fetching from her remote. So reisetze. feel like we need some background, like a background tune for the stream, but something that's not gonna get us flagged by YouTube. Let's see if we can do that. Oh no, has this disconnected? Reconnection, okay. Has this disappeared? What's going on? Here we are. Alright, yeah, let's see if we can get the balance right. I kind of like the idea of having some Celtic folk while we program. Alright, so let's go forwards. If the balance isn't right, please tell me. But I'll do a little test now to see how bad it is. Yeah, I think that sounded alright from a little test I did, so I'm gonna keep it. But if anyone wants it removed, please do tell me. Yeah. So from a look I'd taken earlier, there was some strange logic that needs to be applied here to deal with some odd behaviors across backends. So here we're just expanding the docs. That looks fine. Yeah, that's good. Then we've just got a helper function here, list ag. This, yeah, it looks absolutely fine. We're using approximate median instead of median here. Gonna make a mental note to check that in a little bit. Then here's the list ag function. Yeah, so here's the thing, like 0 is just a placeholder which gets replaced below. I want to check about this because I think it's fine to use a placeholder as 0 if you're doing something numeric. Although we are actually doing a cast here. So I'm just trying to think, like if this was temporal, then presumably it's okay to cast a 0 to something temporal, right? I'm gonna have to think about this, sorry. So if it's a sum, let's start with if it's not a sum, because that's a bit simpler. Actually, I'm not sure I can make sense of any of this without trying to run it. Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to try running it because my my ability to just visualize what's going on isn't good enough. So I think we've... Oh, nice. Got quite a few tests. Let's start with min. Date time of 0 is translated to the unit epoch and durations of 0 from Cameron here in the chat. Thanks, Cam. Yeah. So that also just makes me wonder, though, are there data types for which doing a cast of 0 to something might not work? And how necessary is it? Like, if we've just got a placeholder, does it work to just put null there? Like, do we actually need to have 0? I don't know. I'm just making sure I understand this. No tests ran. Oh. Do I have things installed? Install PyArrow. Oh, it's not found. Ah, wait, I think I just fetched from her remote but didn't check out to the branch. Yeah, that was a bit silly. Feat list dash ag. Right, let's see if now this runs. Yeah, this does run, but I don't understand it, so... let's see if it's at least understandable if I put some breakpoints. Oh wait, it was in arrow utils, right? Got this list tag function. Right, so let's check what we're starting with. So what we're starting with is this array argument. So that shows us that we've got a list with a bunch of elements, some of which are null, a list with just -1, null, so no list here, a list full of null values, and an empty list. Really covering all bases here. But I think there was quite a careful review by Francesco and Dan, who I think have been burned by enough regressions and edge cases that they think of all edge cases when reviewing now. Nice. Okay, so that's what we're starting with. And then this ag, 2 - 1 null, it tells us... So yeah, I remember reading about this in the Arrow issue tracker, that they don't have a... like, this is a bit of a workaround that they recommend for doing these list aggregations. So we group by the offsets. So yeah, we're taking this array and we're flattening it into a single array, and then we get the offsets of where each row starts and where it ends, right? So 0, 0, 1. Oh no, so these tell us to which row does that belong. So 3 null, null, 2, 4 null. These all belong to the 0th row. And then -1 belongs to the first row, and then all of these nulls belong to the third row. Yeah, this makes sense. So we don't get 2 because at position 2, there's just a null value. Okay, got that. We then group by these offsets. So, okay, so for each row, we can do this aggregation. Okay. Sort by offsets. Yeah, because we want to make sure that we're respecting the order that things appear in. Okay. We take the aggregation. Non-empty mask. What is this? True, true, null, true, false. Okay, so this is for each element of the array. Yeah, the first one is a null, non-empty. Second one as well. Third one is just null. This one is non-empty, and this one is empty. Okay, so if it's null, we're preserving null. If it's non-null, then it's either... Okay, sure. It's true if there's a list with some elements in it, and false if there's a list without any elements in it. Okay. Getting there. Okay. So far, so good. Okay, what's this base array? Let's go to line 523. And let's print this base array. 0, 0, null, 0, null. Oh, so here's the placeholder thing. Non-empty mask, fill null, false. Right. This is really quite a complicated workaround. I mean, it seems fine, because we're using the PyArrow native API at every step. It seems okay. But just as an observation, yeah, it seems complicated, but if PyArrow doesn't have a dedicated compute function for this, then there's not much we can do. I think it's okay. Fill null false. I mean, maybe we should be filling false earlier then. Oh no, maybe not, because here we're specifically checking for where it's null. Oh, well, we'll think about the sum later. For now, let's think about here. So, right, so base array, what are we making here? So it's 0 when it's non-empty, and then it's null when either it's empty or there was a null there to begin with. Right. We then cast to ag.type. Sure, let's take a look at that. Which in this case is just going from int64 to int32. Yeah, okay, arguably there might be a better way to do it. Like we could make this of that D type to begin with, but not sure how much I care. So replace with mask. Okay, so we've got our base array. Oh, okay, so those zeros are going to get replaced with ag. Okay, so rather than just having 0, which feels like a bit of a magical number, can we just have like null? Okay, here's a suggestion. Maybe could we do like base array equals, is it an array or a chunked array? Let's see. Yeah, it's an array. Could we do like pa dot array? Wait, no, we've got a function for this. Well, okay, first I'll just check if it works. Then we'll look for the more efficient one. So I'm just gonna do none times len array, and then type equals ag dot type. Okay, just curious about this. Okay, looks like it passes. What about the others? So yeah, there is a more efficient. What is it, like pc.repeat or something? There is some function for this. I can't remember it now. Oh, our tune has finished. So let's yeah, let's put something else. So yeah, I think we've got some like pc.repeat. No, what is it? Like, not pa.repeat. Oh, it is pa.repeat. Okay. It seemed. I'm surprised. Well, I don't know. Repeat. Yeah, let's put that here. None. Let's see. Len array. Probably we can just specify a type as well. Lol. Completely not what I wanted. I probably got the syntax wrong. PA repeat value length. Yeah. Let's take a look. PyArrow dot repeat. Wait, is it not in the docs? Oh, you can specify like lit and then type it there. Let's do that. So lit, just none. D type is gonna be ag dot type. len array, and we can remove this. Right, let's see if now it runs. No. So I'm going to run this again with -x, which is going to fail it. It's going to stop as soon as it fails. Oh, lit is not defined. Sigh. Nice. Okay, quite happy with that. So let's leave this as one suggestion. So does it work to just do the 0 placeholder feels a bit magical. What about this part? Yeah, I'm gonna have to make sense of this part as well, but let's take a break and we'll get back to it. Okay then, let's get back to this. So the other part I need to understand. Okay, now I see why he's got that lit incomplete. Yeah, I'll temporarily put this. What does the PA.repeat signature show us? Okay, yeah, let's take a look. So, yeah, I think we should run one of the tests for sum specifically. Where are we? This is so messy. Here we are. Sum test. Alright, so here, let's see. So the starting array is... looks like the same one as before. Okay. Then base array this time is 0 everywhere except for null. Okay, just in the place where it was originally null. Otherwise it's 0. Non-empty mask is null. Okay, one sec. Just need an extra second to pass this. Yeah. Okay, sure. So if it was originally null... well, we do reuse this non-empty mask later, so that's okay. It's not a waste. Yeah, okay. We're gonna need this anyway, so it's not a waste to compute it. What about this ag? Let's take a look at this ag. Why are we filling nulls in ag? Oh, wait, I've already... yeah, I'm already after this has happened. Let's put a breakpoint before we do the fill null, and maybe then it'll be a bit clearer. So here, ag... right, we've got this minus... right, yeah. So it's that issue where Polars defines an empty sum to be 0, whereas for a lot of other libraries, an empty sum is null. And PyArrow kind of skirts having to think about it by having this option. So in aggregate, I think the way we do this in group by is by having an option there. So let's just take a look at and see if that solves it. Option scalar. I'm sure we've got an option here for like min samples or something. Min count, here it is. Here we are. How does that work? Do you just pass it like this? Well, let's see. So then maybe that let's get rid of this one. Oh. No, that's not the right syntax. Let's go back to the group by and see what the syntax is. How do we do it? Do you put it inside there? Like this? Well, it's not raising at least. Okay, nice. Let's see if we can remove the breakpoint. The breakpoints, sorry. This passes. In which case, can we take it a step further? No. Went. Right, so I feel like we could be. I feel like we could do this differently, but like the other way around. Marco, we need to really get you on NeoVim. Yeah, that's Akmal in the chat. One of the first real believers in Narwhals. Hi, Akmal. Okay, let's try to understand why this... Yeah, why is this failing? Maybe let's put a breakpoint. Let's just compare... let's put a breakpoint here. Ciao! Cameron in the chat +1, though I am still on Vim. Not even NeoVim, just still on the classic Vim. Hey, I'm using... Look at this, I'm using Vim motions. I'm not on Vim, but using Vim motions. Hopefully that counts for something. Oh. Right, let's take a look here. So, ag... Yeah, this looks right. Okay, there's a... Yeah, discussion in the chat about VS Code versus Vim. We've got some very avid NeoVim/Vim supporters here, and not using the mouse. Yeah, I agree. You have mice at home. I agree with not using the mouse too much, but whatever. I like... You see, look at this. This whole search, find, and replace. That's the thing that I wasn't able to find. A complete replacement for in NeoVim. Like this Control-Shift-F and then Control-Shift-H. That's the one thing that was keeping me from completely switching over. Anyway, here, so base array, we've got the aggregation for each group. Okay. Yeah, wait, so why wouldn't this be correct? There's just one test that's failing, so let's do last fail, PDB, and let's look at the output there. Index. What is this index for? Ooh, but this feels like we're just repeating the same computation multiple times. I feel like this test could be improved the way it's written. Wait, are we doing that on the other tests as well? Yeah, okay, I feel like we can improve the way these tests are written, but aside from that, let's just... Yeah, let's just go to the logic. So, at index 4, let's take a look at the data. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, it's for when you've got an empty list. So expected. Expected is 0, yeah, okay, sure. But what does PyArrow actually do? Yeah, I mean, oh, okay, sure, so... I think I see it. So the idea is that for non-empty list, without missing values, sorry, with all missing values, PyArrow returns 0. But for empty list, skips it. So we need to manually put a 0 there. Oof, okay, so maybe we can't comment this out. Maybe we do need the if-else. I don't think we need this one, though. Here we just need a comment, I think, yeah, so like, make sure sum of empty list is 0. I don't know why watching this makes me hungry for some McDonald's. I am so confused. What's reminding you of McDonald's, Akmal? So confused. Unless it's a reference to the earlier comment that when he uses VS Code, he feels like he's gained 100 kilos. I don't know. Okay. The no just threw a pie equals pie. Well, that should make you hungry for pie, not for McDonald's. You can do better than McDonald's. Okay, nice. These go back to passing at least. Okay, it all passes. If you want to not pass this one all the time, you could do something like options equals if func equals sum, else just empty tuple. Iterable tuple. Oh, it's just because it just has to be a single one. Okay. Well, you could just say, let's see, what's the argument here to aggregate aggregations? Could just say something like aggregations equals, or just aggregation to get it right. We could say like values sum, and then let's put this option there. This if func equals sum, else values func. We could just say aggregation. Yeah, this feels like it's a bit simpler. The other thing is, yeah, we don't need these options anymore. Feels like it's simpler, but does it at least pass? Okay, the other thing is, yeah, here. So we're saying we're starting with all of these nulls. Oh, which I think we don't even need the cast now. And then we take non-empty mask, fill null false, ag. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's just the way that my brain is wired, but would it work to do a positive replacement, kind of? Like, start with ag. Oh no, wait. No. Sorry, this doesn't actually... No, never mind. Yeah, okay. Yeah, happy with this. Maybe I'll just leave this as a comment. Okay, and then we'll move on to some other work. Okay, so here's something I worked through in the live stream. Could it work? And for the others, okay, yeah, we're basically just having to do this when-then for dealing with empty sums. And the others are just fairly straightforward, yeah, okay. I'll do a final check for the others when I'm closer to approving this, but this looks like it's on the right track. Thanks all. Looks like this is very much on the right track. Let's update this branch and see if this is okay to merge. I think it should be okay. We're just making, yeah, compliant selector and compliant selector namespace public. I don't think this should have an effect on anything. Let's approve this. On anything else. But it means that for plugins we can just use public imports. Let's manually give her a good GIF. What's a good one? I like this one. Let's give this one. Just double check that it's green, and then we can ship it. Alright, time for another little break. Alright then, let's get back to it. Let's do it. One last little bit to push through and then we're done for today. So to look at that, took a look at that. There was some other PR I wanted to... Yeah, this one we can merge. Let's say that this is internal and we can then yeah, this is internal and we can then... Ooh, why is my ream failing? Yeah, we can then update the plugin. Oh, I've seen this one before. It seems to be a bit random. No idea why. Alright, let's go on. What's missing here? Damn powders. I don't know. Yeah, it looks like it's an active discussion from them, so I'll leave this to them for a bit longer before taking a final look. Now, there is one development I really wanted to take a look at. Marco, by the way, finally managed to make the first level of my DPT code work on Spark, only 9 levels to go. Nice, well done, Akmal. Yeah. Okay, so I'll show you what I want to do. And I'd made an old issue about this, but just never got round to it. And I talked about using qualify, but I don't think we even need qualify, actually. We don't have... Yeah, so the idea is, I'll just show a quick example of what we're trying to do. I don't think this is too complicated. I'd like to think that in 20 minutes this is actually doable. So if we have something like this, let's repeat this. And then let's say df.filter and then nw.call a equals nw.call a.max. I think this currently isn't actually supported for DuckDB, somewhat annoyingly, because of the SQL rules whereby where cannot contain it can't contain window functions. Yeah, so if we try running this at present, I think it's going to error. Yeah, where clause cannot contain window functions, but can we be smarter about it? Maybe. So here's the idea. I think that in SQL dataframe, we don't have like a filter here, do we? Let's make filter. So we're going to take... Yeah, predicate. I think we don't need to do that. So what we're going to do is we're going to say meta is going to be predicate dot. Can't remember the syntax. Sorry, just gonna put a breakpoint. Oh, it doesn't go here because this is overriding it. So we're going to make this underscore filter. Swap out where for qualify. I think Dr. B supports qualify from Cam in the chat. Yes, that is true. Is it always safe to swap out where with qualify? And also, they don't have qualify in their Python API, annoyingly enough. But I think what we can do is we can make a temporary column and then just filter on that and then remove the temporary column. That done. Incomplete Python object-oriented API. Yep. But they have an issue about it. Somewhere. Forces 2 passes on the data, but should get the job done. Yeah, I mean, it's a cheap enough pass. I think it's what happens under the hood anyway, probably when it does a filter, like it needs to evaluate the expression. I don't know. Anyway, so predicate dot. Do we have like here metadata? Underscore metadata. But it's null. Okay, right. All horizontal. PLX. So I think the solution here could be to try to do the all horizontal before extracting things. Maybe let's try that. All horizontal, yeah. Does this work? Let's see. So predicate equals yeah, we want something like this. All horizontal, and then something like here, like where we can chain things. So we're going to chain flat predicates, and then here we're going to say, yeah, something like this. Call name equals v for name v in constraints dot items. No, this is false. So here we're gonna put predicate. Content constraints we don't need anymore. Or do we need this one? Yeah, we can just pass the predicate. Oh wait, no, wait, we're not done the extract part. So let's do a git diff. There's something I deleted, which I deleted a bit too soon. Oh, flatten and extract. So here we're just gonna put predicate. Not sure what's going on there. Copy and paste error probably. And then here we can pass. In fact, here we can just have compliant predicate. This just kind of asserts that it's a single element that gets returned. Yeah, that's good. Alright, let's see where this takes us. Nice. Okay, now we do actually have metadata available. So we could say if predicate dot metadata dot has windows, something like that. Has windows. Extra logic. Else return self dot underscore filter predicate. Actually, curious about this. Can we get AI to finish this for us? Probably not, but let's see. So let's just leave a comment saying what we want to do. Make temporary column, filter on that, then drop temporary column. Curious. Is this the kind of thing AI can be useful for? Let's see. Let's find out. You know, the kind of place where you've solved the problem and you just want to see, wait, can I just save a bit of time by getting it to actually do it? Well, let's see. So let's see. So in this, can you fill in the commented out the commented part with code. Let's see if it's able to do it. Okay, well, they've given us something. Let's see what this does. Temp. Okay, well, let's see. Let's replace this. Oh, okay, sure. Okay, they're making their own logic to make a temporary column name. So let's, I think, yeah, we've got our own helper function for that. So let's use that. So generate temporary column name. And then we're going to use self.columns. Yeah, so then let's say prefix equals filter. Okay, nice. Evaluate window expression. I think we just want to evaluate it. Let's see if we're able to do that. Huh? If predicated metadata has windows, why didn't it go there? Dot metadata. This might be too complex to just do on a stream, to be honest. Has Windows false? Okay, yeah, I think the issue is that we need the broadcasting logic to already happen here inside, all horizontal. Uh, or maybe if it's not is element wise. Okay, now we at least go inside here. And then we should be able to say something like predicate. Do we have like dot underscore call? Yeah. Um, but I think we can just do like self dot with columns and then predicate, something like this. Temp call is not defined. Okay, right. Let's go forwards. Oh, okay. So this needs to be where is it? Predicate dot alias temp name. No, temp call. Very skeptical about this, but let's see. Invalid syntax. Oh, yeah. Just a PDB error. I don't need to use print. Okay, this does actually make a new data frame. And then I need to filter. Based on, do I have like a column? Yeah, so in here, let's see. Maybe we're not that far off. In W, yeah, I meant NS, indeed. Ooh, strict. Okay, well, we don't need the strict check, so we might as well just skip it. Ooh, did this produce something? Hey! This is actually working. Is this... This might be all we need. Let's try with the min. Yeah, I think we're good. Okay, so I'm just going to stash this away in a temporary branch, and I'll get back to this soon. Yeah, so git check out SQL qualify. So git commit, best commit message ever is WIP. This is going to throw all kinds of errors. So I'll just let one run. Ah, this is pretty neat. Quite happy with this. Okay, so I'm just going to push this upstream. Well, I'll push this up to head. So if I don't manage to finish this for some reason and anyone wants to take it over, then it's on the SQL-qualify branch of my repo. And once again, we've tried to use Claude Code and it turned out to be completely counterproductive. There, that's my considered stance on AI for open source development. Thanks everyone, have a good one. Ciao.